Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about Michigan versus Georgia in the college football Grand National Football Playoff Championship of the Universe. It is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, Jeremiah? I'm ready to talk about this, man. We've been waiting for weeks for these two to duke it out, and we're finally going to see it on December 31st, the last day of 2021. Oh, it's going to be a great matchup with the Michigan Wolverines and the Georgia Bulldogs. Who's going to go on to face the winner of Alabama and Cincinnati? It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk more about this, bro. I'm hyped. I am ready to talk more about this amazing matchup.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, or listening on our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for telling all your friends and family about us. And just thank you for being here every day and every week as we broadcast live from Atlanta, Georgia, talking about Georgia, talking about Michigan, talking about soon we'll be talking about Cincinnati and Alabama, and just closing out this amazing 2021 year that has been absolutely life-changing for so many people, including for our podcast and our live broadcast. So without further ado, Mr. Logan Landers, Michigan versus Georgia. What do these two fan bases have to look forward to, and what do all the rest of us have to look forward to for this amazing game?
Man, it is going to be a great game, I think. It's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait for this one. Two of the best defenses in college football going at it. Michigan right there, some great players. Aiden Hutchinson, Heisman Trophy finalist. Georgia, you have a lot of amazing players on there, too. A lot of guys who are about to get drafted this upcoming year. Two great coaches, Kirby Smart, man. Jim Harbaugh going at it. It's going to be a tremendous battle. And both of these teams, man, they've had a heck of a 2021 season. So Michigan, they finished the year 12-1. They got the win in their bowl game in the Big Ten against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Commanded the entire game, won 42-3. So they just ran through Iowa, got the win, and that is how they secured a spot in the college football playoffs, ranked number 2 at the moment. But for the Georgia Bulldogs, on the flip side, they had a brutal loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide for the SEC championship. They lost 41-24, currently ranking them number 3. So that's where we are, man. We have two amazing programs, two good coaches, two just lights out defenses. So let's break it down. Who are going to be some of the key players? So first, we'll start off with Michigan. Got to go with the quarterbacks, man. Cade McNamara had a really good season. Well, about almost 2,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. But we all know that Michigan's not much of a passing team. McNamara does it whenever he needs to, but they are a running team through and through with the two-headed monster of Hassan Haskins. Ran the ball for over 1,000 yards this year with 20 rushing touchdowns. Let me read that again. 20 rushing touchdowns. And right behind him is Blake Corum. Almost to that 1,000-yard plateau. Finished the year with 939. 11 touchdowns. So you have 33 running touchdowns between both of these gentlemen. So if you're Georgia and you have one of the best run defenses in the NCAA, you know exactly what's coming, man. It's going to be a battle of who wants it more, whether it's going to be the dynamic duo running back or the big boys up front on the defensive line for Georgia. I can't wait to see how that battle's going to shake out. But it's not just the running core. We got to go with the receivers for Michigan. Cornelius Johnson led the way with 609 yards, also with 38 catches on 16 yards per catch. Roman Wilson right there. Eric All, the tight end. Those are the 3 guys I think to look out for on the receiving core. I also like to look at the kicking game because those are sometimes the key factors and between a win and a loss in these big bowl games, these big championship games like you mentioned. Jake Moody, perfect for the extra points, 56-56. Field goals. Hasn't had to kick too many this year, 22-24, so not perfect, but overall very, very solid, I would think. He had 2 of those misses from 40 to 49 yards. So if it gets a little bit further out there, it might not be automatic. On the defense, of course, man, it's the amazing Wolverine stifling defense. We got to give them a big shout out. Josh Ross leading the way with 95 tackles this year. Had a very good season. Also, Aiden Hutchinson, like I mentioned in the opener. Jeremiah, he had 14 sacks this year. 58 tackles, and right behind him is David Ojabo with 11 sacks. So both those gentlemen are going to be rushing the offensive line of Georgia, trying to get the Stetson Bennett. And we will see who will be the first to break and which offensive line, which defensive line will be the better of the two teams. We also need to look at the secondary in the backfield. Vincent Gray, DJ Turner, Daxton Hill, and Brad Dawkins are going to be the main guys to look out for because they have a ton of ball hawks, passes defended. A lot of them have 5+. Turner and Hill have 2 interceptions for each of their names. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams do. I think Michigan has a very good running game. I think they have a more explosive offense. I got my tongue tied here because I'm so excited talking about these teams. They score about 37, 38 points a game, and they are explosive. Like I mentioned with that running game, that's exactly where they get it done. I mean, they run the ball for about 5.3 yards per carry, so that is top notch. That is elite, and they get about 223 yards per game on the rushing attack alone. So I think that Michigan has a great team. There's a reason they're in this spot. There's a reason that they are currently ranked number 2, and there is a big reason that they are in this position to go up against the Georgia Bulldogs this upcoming week. I can't wait for this matchup. But we got to talk about the Dogs, right? We're based out of Georgia. We've been talking about Georgia the whole year. They've been doing great things. They were undefeated for the longest, number 1 in the country. They made one mistake, though, and that mistake's name was against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. It's a tale as old as college football, right? When Nick Saban comes to town, you better buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride. And the Bulldogs learned that. So beside that loss, they were pretty much blowing every team out, getting a bunch of big wins, a lot of easy victories. They are not going to have that against the Wolverines, I don't believe. So let's talk about some of their key players, and we'll see what they can do. Obviously, we got to start with the mailman, Stetson Bennett, leading the helm at quarterback, thrown for over 2,000 yards this year, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, been sacked 9 times. So we'll see, because in the Alabama game, he didn't look too sharp. Can he live up to the pressure and do it in probably the biggest game of his life now against the Michigan Wolverines and their stifling defense, which I just mentioned all their players. 64% completion percentage, not too shabby either. Now, we talk about the rushing game. We said for Michigan, it was pretty solid. It's not too bad at Georgia either. Zamir White, 718 yards. James Cook, 619. Combined, they have 17 touchdowns together. So we'll see what they can get going there. But the thing with Georgia is that's different than it is in Michigan. Michigan has the advantage on the running game, but I think Georgia has the advantage when it comes to the receiving core. Brock Bowers, the tight end who moves like a wide receiver, 47 catches, led the team by a ton. 791 yards and 11 touchdowns. Watch out for the big man because he will eat you alive. Right behind him is Ladd McConkey, 430 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jermaine Burton with 4 touchdowns. Adonai Mitchell with 2. And they've got a lot of good weapons on that Georgia program in that receiving core who are not afraid to go after the ball and get a few good yards and potentially a score. Like I mentioned with the kicking game for Michigan, it wasn't that bad. For Jack Polinsky, 64-65 for the extra points, only missed 1, not too bad. We can let that one slide. Field goals, this is where it could get a little tricky though, Jeremiah. 18-22. Not as good as Michigan's, only an 81% clip. He's missed both of those from 30 to 39 yards, and he's missed 2 more from 40 to 49. He has not kicked a 50-yard plus field goal this season. So, if things get a little bit long for Georgia, if they're not able to get great field position, it might not be pretty, just based off of what I'm looking here at the stats. But you never know, man. Sometimes we see kickers have a great game and come up clutch. But based off the regular season, he's not kicked a 50-plus yard field goal. And with the ones being 40 to 49, he's only been 3 of 5. So not perfect. So I think that Michigan does have the advantage with the kicking game also. But now let's get to the bread and butter, the thing that everyone talks about with this Georgia team, and that is the defense. led by a lot of guys who are going to get drafted in the 2022 NFL draft. You got to believe it. We got to start, of course, with Nakobe Dean, leading the way with 61 tackles this year. Also, right behind him is Lewis Cine with 61. But the big difference, man, Dean has 5 sacks on the year. Channing Tindall has 4.5 to his name. And Devontae Wyatt has 2.5. So they don't have the one guy like Aiden Hutchinson, right, that is just going to be the sack leader. But they do have some guys who are just going to stuff the run, who are going to get to the quarterback, of course, but they're not going to be that big force. They're going to try and sit back a little bit and stuff the running game, I think, this game. But they have a lot of really good players. Of course, let's deal with the guys in the secondary. Latavius Brenny, 8 passes defended. Lewis Cine, 8 passes defended. Keely Ringo with 7. So they have a lot of really good guys. There's 30 more I could talk about, right? This amazing team, Nolan Smith, Darian Kendrick, Adam Anderson, the list goes on and on. Jordan Davis, of course, the big man. So there's a bunch of guys on this Georgia list. It's like a scroll, right? You just keep looking at it, and more 4-star, 5-star, amazing A-plus athletes come out of this team. And it's really something to look at. And I said earlier on in the season that this Georgia Bulldogs defense, beside that slip-up against Alabama, right, it could go down as one of the top defenses, not just in 2021, not just in the past 5 years, 10 years. I said all time, and I'm still standing behind it, right? One rough game ain't going to put them down, I think. So that's why I've got them still as a tremendous team. So a few team stats for Georgia, just how they've been doing this year. Like I mentioned, Stetson Bennett and company. They score about 39 points a game, so right there with Michigan. They're do pretty decent. Their third down percentage is not the greatest, though, 43%. So that could be improved on. I think that other than that, they do a very good job. 194 rushing yards per game, so a little bit less than Michigan, like I mentioned. The offense, they do a good job. But I think, man, this could be a toss-up, right? This could be a best-of-7 series between these two, and it'll go to Game 7. But it's not like that, though, man. It's college football. It's a one-game playoff. The winner moves on to the championship game, and the loser packs their bags and heads home, wondering if they can get there again next season. So, for my final prediction, who I think will win this college football semifinal game, advancing to the championship. And Jeremiah, I'm not going to play Homer, but hey, I got the Georgia Bulldogs getting the win in this one, but it's going to be close, though. I got this one being close. I was looking around some of the odds. I think Georgia is the 7-point favorite. I'm going to go with only a 3-point victory in this one. I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs 40 and the Michigan Wolverines 37. I want this to be a high-scoring game. I know I said the defenses are top-notch, but, man, I want to see some offensive fireworks. I want to see a lot of big scores, some big plays. I know the fans who are paying a lot of money for these tickets want to see that also. So I got Georgia 40-37, a high-scoring affair. I think the defenses are going to come up big, though, but not in the first half. I can see the fourth quarter is where we really see which team, they might have struggled the whole game, right? They've given up a few big plays. But who's going to want it more in the fourth quarter? I think the Georgia Bulldogs have a slight edge. But like I said, man, this is a real toss-up. This is going to be the game, I think, of the college football playoff this year, because it's two teams who are evenly matched when it comes to their defensive prowess, the amount of points they score per game, the love they put on their running backs, the wide receiving core. But I got Georgia edging it out just ever so slightly in this one. But it is going to be a tremendous football game. I cannot wait to watch it this upcoming week.
Absolutely. I think we're all going to be on the edge of our seats as Michigan faces Georgia. We all know here in Georgia, broadcasting live from Atlanta, what we'd like to see happen. Of course, we've got plenty of Michigan fans all around us who are rooting for their team. But what we'd like to see is this, Georgia team continue their dominance. This is a team that was number one through most of the season. They are ready to come at this. So is Michigan. They have fought so very hard to get to this point. So we know it is going to be 4 quarters of fantastic football. And literally, I am on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait. And I am just excited to close out the year with this amazing game. Well, for everybody who's watching on YouTube, Twitch, or on Facebook, thank you so much for watching us live. And if you're listening to our podcast, thank you again. But if you're not listening to our podcast, What are you waiting on? Come and join us. Just look up on your Spotify app, your Apple Podcast app, or anywhere that you love to listen to podcasts, look up 100 Yards of Football, and we'll be there for you every single day with amazing episodes where we not only talk about game previews, we not only talk about the amazing recruiting classes that are coming up for each team, but we also have historic interviews with amazing legendary players, amazing coaches, and awesome other sports broadcasters so that we can bring you the most incredible in-depth information that we can, not only on what's happening in the current season, but what's been going on in the entire history of football and how we got up to this amazing point we're at right now to celebrate every single game and every single idea behind the history and lore behind football itself. So thank you so much for that. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been listening to our host, Logan Landers, give a breakdown of the upcoming Michigan versus Georgia game. This is a huge one, and we cannot wait to be with you. So we'll join you again for another live episode really soon.